First contact and invasion. The night sky over New York City erupted in a dazzling display of lights, but this was no fireworks show. As civilians gazed upward in awe, military radar operators across the globe scrambled to make sense of the unprecedented readings flooding their screens. Within minutes, the truth became undeniable. Earth was experiencing first contact with an alien civilization. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead astrophysicist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, found herself abruptly pulled from a late-night research session and thrust into a hastily assembled crisis meeting. Her expertise in extraterrestrial communication made her a vital asset in this historic moment. "What do we know so far?" Samantha asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. General Marcus Harding, a grizzled veteran with piercing blue eyes, gestured towards the large display dominating the room. "Not much, Doctor. Multiple objects, massive in scale, have entered Earth's orbit. They're not responding to any of our attempts at communication." As if on cue, the room's occupants fell silent as a crackling transmission filled the air. The language was unlike anything they'd ever heard, a series of clicks, whistles, and guttural sounds that defied easy categorization. Samantha's fingers flew across her tablet, running the alien speech through every known linguistic algorithm. "It's not matching any known language patterns," she muttered, frustration evident in her voice. Before anyone could respond, the alien transmission abruptly cut off. In its place, a deafening boom shook the building as the first volley of the invasion began. Across the globe, major cities found themselves under attack from weapons beyond human comprehension. Energy beams lanced down from the orbiting ships, vaporizing entire city blocks in seconds. Swarms of smaller craft descended, deploying alien foot soldiers that moved with terrifying speed and precision. In the chaos of those first hours, Earth's military forces struggled to mount an effective defense. Conventional weapons proved largely ineffective against the invaders' advanced technology. Fighter jets were swatted from the sky like annoying insects, while tanks and artillery were reduced to smoldering wreckage by pinpoint energy strikes. Amidst the carnage, pockets of human resistance began to form. In the ruins of downtown Los Angeles, Marine Sergeant Jack Harper rallied a group of survivors, using his combat experience to organize hit-and-run attacks against alien patrols. "Stay low, move fast, and hit them where they least expect it," Jack instructed his ragtag band of fighters. Armed with a mixture of military-grade weapons and improvised explosives, they managed to take down several alien squads, providing a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. On the other side of the country, Dr. Chen found herself evacuated to a secret underground facility along with key government and scientific personnel. As the sounds of battle raged overhead, she threw herself into the task of deciphering the alien language and technology. "There has to be a weakness," Samantha muttered, poring over sensor data captured during the initial invasion. "No species is invincible, no matter how advanced." Days turned into weeks as the alien conquest of Earth continued. Major population centers fell one by one, with surviving humans forced into hiding or conscripted as labor for the invaders. The aliens, now identified as the Zarkef, seemed intent on stripping the planet of its resources rather than outright extermination of humanity. In their arrogance, the Zarkef broadcast their victories across the planet, using Earth's own communication networks to demoralize the remaining resistance. Their leader, Supreme Commander Vexicor, appeared as a towering insectoid figure with multiple limbs and eyes that glowed with malevolent intelligence. "Humans of Earth," Vexicor's translated voice boomed, "your pitiful attempts at resistance amuse us. You are but insects compared to the might of the Zarkef Empire. Surrender now, and you may yet have a place as servants in our glorious conquest of the galaxy." The broadcast served only to fuel the fires of human determination. In hidden bunkers and remote outposts, the survivors of humanity began to regroup and plan their counterattack. At the secret facility housing Dr. Chen and other key personnel, a breakthrough finally came. Samantha burst into the command center, her eyes wild with excitement. "General Harding, I've cracked it," she exclaimed, brandishing a datapad. "The Zarkef communication systems, they're based on quantum entanglement. That's why we couldn't intercept or jam their transmissions." The general's eyebrows shot up. "And how does that help us, Doctor?" Samantha's grin was fierce. "Because now that we understand the principle, we can reverse engineer it. More importantly, I've discovered a vulnerability in their shield technology. It's not impenetrable. It has a specific resonance frequency. If we can match that frequency with our weapons, we might actually stand a chance." Harding finished, a spark of hope igniting in his eyes. As word of the discovery spread through the human resistance network, a daring plan began to take shape. Operation Thunderstrike would be humanity's all-or-nothing gambit to reclaim their world. Jack Harper and his team, having successfully liberated a Zarkef weapons cache, found themselves recalled to a hidden military base in the Rocky Mountains. As he strode into the briefing room, he was struck by the mix of determination and fear on the faces of the assembled fighters. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Harding began, his voice grave, "what I'm about to share with you is classified at the highest level. Thanks to the brilliant work of Dr. Chen and her team, we now have a fighting chance against the Zarkef." As Harding laid out the details of Operation Thunderstrike, a murmur of excitement rippled through the room. It was audacious, borderline insane, but it just might work. "This is a volunteer mission only," Harding concluded. "The risks are extreme, and there's a good chance many of you won't make it back. But if we succeed, we'll turn the tide of this war and show these alien bastards what humanity is truly capable of." Jack stood, his voice ringing out clear and strong. "I'm in, sir. Those bug-eyed freaks won't know what hit them." One by one, others joined him, soldiers, scientists, and civilians united in their determination to save their world. As the volunteers began their intensive training, a sense of purpose and hope spread through the human resistance. Unbeknownst to the Zarkef, who continued to view humanity as little more than an amusing diversion, the seeds of their downfall were being sown. The fiercest sons and daughters of Earth were preparing to strike back, and the alien invaders were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating the human spirit. As the first part of the story concludes, tension builds for the upcoming Operation Thunderstrike. The stage is set for an epic confrontation between humanity's best and the overconfident Zarkef invaders. The quantum resistance. In the shadowy depths of an abandoned subway tunnel beneath the ruins of Chicago, an unlikely alliance was forming. Dr. Elena Reeves, a brilliant quantum physicist with a rebellious streak, hunched over a makeshift workbench. Her hands, steady despite the constant rumble of alien patrols overhead, carefully manipulated a device that defied conventional understanding. "You're sure this will work?" asked Sarah Wraith Johnson, a former Special Forces operative whose stealth skills had kept her alive since the invasion began. Elena's lips quirked into a wry smile. "In theory, absolutely. In practice? We're about to find out." The device before them was humanity's newest weapon against the Zarkef, a quantum phase disruptor. By exploiting the aliens' reliance on quantum entanglement for their communications and shield technology, Elena believed they could create localized dead zones where Zarkef tech would simply cease to function. As Elena made her final adjustments, a newcomer entered their hidden sanctuary. John Chen, Dr. Samantha Chen's younger brother and a skilled hacker, arrived with critical intelligence. "I've cracked their latest transmission," John announced, his face a mixture of excitement and dread. "The Zarkef are planning something big. They're calling it the Great Ascension." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Sounds ominous. What is it?" John pulled up a holographic display showing a massive structure being constructed in Earth's orbit. "As far as I can tell, it's some kind of planet-scale quantum computer. If they complete it, Earth becomes the Zarkef's new superweapon." Elena finished, her face pale. The implications were staggering. With a planet-sized quantum computer at their disposal, the Zarkef could potentially control the very fabric of space-time itself. "We need to get this intel to command immediately," Sarah stated, already moving towards their secure comm unit. But fate had other plans. At that moment, the tunnel shook violently as explosion after explosion rocked the city above. The Zarkef had found them. "Rafe to base, we are compromised," Sarah shouted into the comm, requesting immediate evac. Static was her only reply. Elena clutched the quantum disruptor prototype to her chest. "We can't let them get this," she said, determination etched on her face. John's fingers flew over his portable terminal. "I've got a crazy idea," he said, a reckless grin spreading across his face. "But you're going to have to trust me." As Zarkef energy weapons began to melt through the reinforced doors of their hideout, John explained his plan. It was audacious, borderline insane, and their only hope of survival. Minutes later, as the aliens burst into the room, they found it empty save for a simple digital message floating in the air: "Catch us if you can." Unbeknownst to the Zarkef, Elena, Sarah, and John had used a carefully calibrated version of the quantum disruptor to phase shift themselves slightly out of sync with normal spacetime. To the aliens, they were invisible ghosts, able to move freely through the occupied city. As they made their way through the ruins of Chicago, the trio witnessed the full extent of the Zarkef's Great Ascension project. Massive generators were being constructed, siphoning Earth's geothermal energy to power the orbital quantum computer. "We need to sabotage those generators," Sarah whispered, her training kicking in as she assessed potential weak points. Elena nodded, already calculating. "If we can overload them in just the right way, we might be able to create a cascading quantum feedback loop." John's eyes lit up with understanding, which could potentially disrupt their entire network. As they formulated their plan, a new complication arose. Their phase shift began to fluctuate, momentarily bringing them back into sync with normal space. A patrolling Zarkef warrior caught a glimpse of them, its multifaceted eyes widening in shock. "Run!" Sarah yelled, as energy bolts began to sizzle through the air around them. What followed was a heart-pounding chase through the twisted landscape of occupied Chicago. The trio used their phase-shifting ability to duck through walls and leap impossible gaps, always staying just ahead of their pursuers. As they neared the primary generator complex, John's hacking skills came into play. He managed to briefly hijack the Zarkef's own communication network, broadcasting a message to resistance cells across the globe. To all human resistance fighters, his voice rang out. "This is John Chen. We've discovered the Zarkef's endgame, a planet-scale quantum computer that could enslave not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. We're going to try and stop it, but we need your help. Hit every generator complex you can find. Overload them. Cause chaos. It's time to show these aliens what humanity is really made of." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the planet, resistance cells sprang into action. In New York, Jack Harper led a daring assault on a Zarkef stronghold. In Tokyo, a group of teenage hackers unleashed a virus that sent alien machinery haywire. And in the mountains of Peru, indigenous warriors armed with makeshift EMP devices brought down a Zarkef dropship. Back in Chicago, Elena, Sarah, and John had reached the heart of the primary generator complex. With Zarkef forces closing in from all sides, they had one chance to get this right. "Cover me," Elena said, her fingers dancing over the quantum disruptor's controls. "This is going to get weird." As Sarah and John held off waves of alien attackers, Elena initiated the overload sequence. The air around them began to shimmer and distort as quantum fields collided and intertwined. "It's working," John shouted over the rising whine of the generators. "The feedback loop is spreading through their network." But their victory came at a cost. As the quantum disruption spread, their own phase shift began to destabilize. Reality itself seemed to fracture around them, past and future bleeding into the present. Sarah grabbed Elena and John, pulling them close. "Whatever happens," she yelled, her voice barely audible over the quantum maelstrom, "it's been an honor." In a blinding flash of light that could be seen from orbit, the generator complex exploded. The quantum feedback cascaded through the Zarketh network, temporarily severing their control over Earth's occupied territories. As the light faded and the dust settled, resistance fighters cautiously approached the epicenter of the explosion. What they found would change the course of the war forever. There, in the heart of the devastation, stood Elena, Sarah, and John, but they were changed. The quantum energies had transformed them, granting them abilities that defied explanation. Elena could manipulate quantum fields at will, Sarah could phase through solid matter effortlessly, and John's mind had become one with the digital realm. As news of their transformation and the temporary defeat of the Zarketh spread, a new hope ignited in the hearts of humanity. The alien invaders had awakened something primal and powerful in Earth's defenders, a force that would not rest until their world was free. The Zarketh, reeling from this unexpected setback, retreated to their orbiting ships to regroup. But their supreme commander, Vexicor, was far from defeated. As he gazed down at the planet that had dared to resist, his mandibles clicked in a gesture of grim determination. So, he chittered to his lieutenants. The humans wished to escalate this conflict to the quantum level. Very well, let us show them the true meaning of ascension. As Vexicor initiated a new and terrible phase of the invasion, humanity steeled itself for the battles to come. The war for Earth was far from over, but for the first time since the aliens arrived, the future held a glimmer of hope. The quantum resistance had begun, and the universe would never be the same. The chronosphere gambit. As the quantum dust settled from humanity's first major victory against the Zarketh, a new battlefield emerged, one that defied the very laws of physics. Dr. Zaren Wosu, a brilliant Nigerian temporal physicist, stood before a gathered council of resistance leaders, her eyes gleaming with barely contained excitement. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite the gravity of her words, "what I'm about to share with you will change everything we thought we knew about this war." With a gesture, Zara activated a holographic display, revealing a swirling vortex of energy that pulsed with otherworldly light. "This is the chronosphere, a tear in the fabric of space-time itself, created by the quantum feedback from our attack on the Zarketh network." Murmurs of awe and trepidation rippled through the assembled crowd. General Harding leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "And what exactly does this mean for us, Doctor?" Zara's smile was both thrilling and terrifying. "It means, General, that we now have the ability to manipulate time itself." The implications were staggering. With control over the chronosphere, humanity could potentially undo the devastation wrought by the Zarketh invasion, or even prevent it altogether. But as with all power, it came with a price. "The chronosphere is unstable," Zara continued, her expression grave. "Each use risks further fracturing the timeline. We must use it judiciously, or risk unraveling the very fabric of reality." As the council debated the ethical implications of time manipulation, a new threat emerged. The Zarketh, having discovered the existence of the chronosphere, launched an all-out assault to claim it for themselves. Enter Kai Tanaka, a former professional gamer turned mech pilot, whose lightning-fast reflexes and strategic mind made him humanity's ace in the hole. As Zarketh forces converged on the hidden chronosphere facility, Kai climbed into the cockpit of the Tempest, an experimental mech suit designed to harness chronal energy. "Time to show these bugs what happens when you mess with a speedrunner," Kai quipped, his fingers dancing over the controls. The battle that ensued was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Kai's Tempest suit phased in and out of different moments in time, striking Zarketh forces before they even knew they were under attack. But the aliens adapted quickly, deploying their own time-warping technology to counter humanity's new advantage. As the conflict escalated, the very fabric of reality began to fray. Soldiers found themselves reliving the same moments over and over, while others aged years in the blink of an eye. The sky above the battlefield became a kaleidoscope of temporal anomalies, past and future bleeding into the present. Amidst the chaos, Elena, Sarah, and John, now known as the Quantum Trio, fought to stabilize the chronosphere. Their newfound abilities allowed them to navigate the turbulent time stream, but even they were pushed to their limits. "We need to close the temporal rift," Elena shouted over the din of battle, her hands weaving complex patterns of quantum energy. "If it collapses, it could take half the planet with it." John, his consciousness merged with the digital realm, worked furiously to calculate a solution. "I've got it," he exclaimed, "but it's going to take all of us, and it's a one-way trip." The plan was audacious and potentially suicidal. By combining their unique abilities with the power of the chronosphere, they could create a temporal loop that would trap the Zarketh invasion force in a never-ending moment, but they would be trapped with them. As the team prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, an unexpected ally emerged from the time stream. A figure in advanced armor, bearing the insignia of an organization none of them recognized, appeared before them. "I am Commander Alexis Chen," the figure announced, removing her helmet to reveal a face that bore a striking resemblance to Samantha and John. "I come from a future where the Zarketh were defeated, but at a terrible cost. I'm here to ensure that history takes a different path." With Alexis's knowledge of future events and advanced technology, a new plan took shape. Instead of trapping the Zarketh in a temporal prison, they would use the chronosphere to show them the consequences of their actions. In a dazzling display of chronal manipulation, Kai's Tempest suit became a conduit for the combined powers of the Quantum Trio and Alexis's future tech. They projected a vision of a galaxy ravaged by the Zarketh's unchecked expansion, where countless civilizations fell, and the very stars themselves began to die. Supreme Commander Vexcor, linked into the Zarketh hive mind, received the vision in all its horrifying clarity. For the first time in his long life, the alien leader felt something akin to remorse. As the temporal energies reached their peak, Vexcor made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. He ordered his forces to stand down, opening a channel to the human resistance. "Humans of Earth," Vexcor's translated voice boomed across the battlefield. "We have witnessed the folly of our ways. The path we walk leads only to destruction, for you, for us, for all sentient life. We propose a truce." The sudden cessation of hostilities left both sides reeling. As human and Zarketh leaders convened to negotiate terms, the chronosphere's energy began to stabilize. The immediate threat of temporal collapse had passed, but the effects of the battle would be felt for generations to come. In the aftermath, Earth found itself in a unique position. No longer merely a primitive world to be conquered, it had become a linchpin in the galaxy's temporal stability. The Zarketh, humbled by their brush with cosmic consequences, offered to share their advanced technology in exchange for human assistance in navigating the treacherous waters of time manipulation. A new era of cooperation and exploration dawned, with humanity and the Zarketh working together to unravel the mysteries of the time stream. Joint scientific teams, led by Dr. Zoran Wosu and her Zarketh counterpart, delved into the nature of temporal physics, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Kai Tanaka, hailed as a hero for his role in the battle, became the lead test pilot for a new generation of chronally powered vessels designed for temporal exploration. The Quantum Trio, their abilities now better understood and controlled, took on the role of temporal guardians, protecting the integrity of the timeline from those who would seek to abuse it. As for Commander Alexis Chen, she found herself faced with a difficult choice. With the future she knew no longer certain, she could either return to a timeline that might no longer exist or remain in this new present, helping to shape a better future for all. As the sun set on this momentous day, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. They had faced extinction and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The Chronosphere Gambit had not just saved Earth, it had opened up an entire universe of possibilities. The message was clear. humanity's greatest strength lay not in its ability to fight, but in its capacity for adaptation, innovation, and ultimately, understanding. As they stood on the precipice of a new age of galactic cooperation, the people of Earth knew that their greatest adventures were yet to come. In the swirling depths of the chronosphere, echoes of potential futures danced and shimmered, and somewhere, the next chapter of humanity's cosmic journey was already being written: the multiversal nexus. In the years following the chronosphere gambit, Earth had become a bustling hub of interstellar diplomacy and temporal research. The unlikely alliance between humans and Zar-Keth had ushered in an era of unprecedented technological advancement. However, as humanity reached for the stars, they were about to discover that their universe was far stranger and more vast than they had ever imagined. Dr. Arya Khan, a prodigy in the field of quantum cosmology, stood before a gathered assembly of Earth's brightest minds and their Zar-Keth counterparts. Her hands trembled slightly as she activated a holographic display that filled the auditorium. "Ladies, gentlemen, and honored Zar-Keth," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves, "what I'm about to show you will fundamentally change our understanding of reality itself." The hologram flickered to life, displaying a mind-bending array of interconnected spheres, each seemingly containing its own universe. "This is the multiversal nexus," Arya explained. "A cosmic web of parallel realities, each with its own unique laws of physics and alternate histories." The audience erupted in a mixture of awe and skepticism. Supreme Commander Vexicor, now a respected ally of humanity, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "And you believe we can access these other universes, Dr. Khan?" Arya nodded, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Not only access them, but potentially travel between them." The chronosphere was just the beginning. With the right application of chronal energy and quantum entanglement, we could open gateways to entire new realities. As the implications of this discovery sank in, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Kai Tanaka, now captain of the chronal exploration vessel Ouroboros, burst into the auditorium, his face grim. "We've got a situation," he announced. "Something's coming through, and it's not from our universe." The assembled scientists and leaders rushed to the nearest observation deck, watching in astonishment as the sky above ripped open. Through the tear emerged a massive structure that defied description, part organic, part machine, and wholly alien. "By the stars," Vexcor whispered, his compound eyes wide. "It's a multiversal harvester." Before anyone could ask for clarification, the structure unleashed a wave of energy that washed over the planet. In its wake, reality itself began to fracture. Cities from alternate Earths phased in and out of existence, overlapping with their counterparts. People found themselves face to face with alternate versions of themselves, some friendly, others hostile. As chaos erupted across the globe, the quantum trio sprang into action. Elena, her mastery over quantum fields now at its peak, worked to stabilize the areas most affected by the multiversal bleed. Sarah phased between realities, rescuing those caught in the dimensional crossfire. John, his digital consciousness expanded beyond imagination, coordinated global defense efforts against threats from 1,000 different Earths. But it quickly became clear that this was a threat beyond anything they had faced before. The harvester, they learned, was a tool of the overseer, a vast, multidimensional intelligence that consumed entire universes to fuel its endless expansion. In a desperate bid to save not just their Earth, but all possible Earths, an unprecedented plan was formed. Dr. Zoran Wosu, her understanding of temporal physics now bordering on the divine, proposed a daring solution. "We need to create a multiversal firewall," she explained, her eyes blazing with determination. "A barrier that will protect not just our reality, but all realities connected to the Nexus." The plan was audacious and fraught with danger. It would require harnessing the power of 1,000 suns, channeling it through the chronosphere, and using the amplified chronal energy to rewrite the very laws of interdimensional physics. As preparations for this cosmic undertaking began, Earth became a beacon for refugees from across the multiverse. Alternate versions of historical figures, creatures of myth and legend, and beings beyond human comprehension all found their way to this linchpin reality. Kai Tanaka found himself leading a motley crew of pilots from across the multiverse, each bringing unique skills and technologies to the fight. Among them was Kai X, a cybernetic version of himself from a reality where the Zarketh invasion had led to widespread human augmentation. "Well, this is awkward," Kai quipped as he shook hands with his robotic doppelganger. "But I guess 2Ks are better than one." As the day of reckoning approached, the combined forces of humanity, Zarketh, and their multiversal allies prepared for battle. The plan was multifaceted. Arya Khan would lead a team into the heart of the Harvester, seeking to understand and potentially subvert its technology. The Quantum Trio, amplified by the combined mental energy of 1,000,000 psychics from across the multiverse, would create a temporary reality bubble to protect Earth during the firewall's activation. Kai Tanaka and his multiversal squadron would run interference, keeping the Overseer's forces at bay. Dr. Nwosu, linked directly to the chronosphere, would orchestrate the final activation of the multiversal firewall. As the Harvester descended upon Earth, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The battle that followed was beyond epic. It was a war fought across dimensions, through the corridors of time itself. Arya and her team, facing between layers of alien technology, discovered a horrifying truth. The Harvester wasn't just a machine, it was alive, a cosmic parasite that fed on the very essence of universes. In its core, they found countless trapped consciousnesses, the remnants of civilizations long consumed. With this knowledge, Arya made a fateful decision. Instead of merely subverting the Harvester, they would liberate it. As Kai's forces engaged in a mind-bending dogfight through folded space-time, Arya's team worked to free the enslaved minds within the Harvester. The Quantum Trio, their powers stretched to the breaking point, maintained the reality bubble around Earth as fragments of alternate histories billowed through. John found himself in a mental battle against a dark version of himself who had embraced the Overseer's philosophy. Sarah phased through solid cosmic energy, planting quantum charges at key weak points in the Harvester's structure. Elena, her body now more energy than matter, became a living conduit for the power of 1,000,000,000 stars. As the battle reached its crescendo, Dr. Nwosu stood at the heart of the chronosphere. Her consciousness expanded across all of space and time. With a final surge of chronal energy, she activated the multiversal firewall. The effect was immediate and awe-inspiring. A wave of iridescent energy exploded outward from Earth, rippling across dimensions. The Harvester, caught in the wave, began to disintegrate, but not before Arya and her team managed to free the trapped consciousnesses within. As the firewall solidified, sealing off the protected realities from the Overseer's influence, a new cosmic order was born. Earth, once a backwater planet, now stood as the cornerstone of a multiversal alliance. In the aftermath, as the dust of creation and destruction settled, humanity found itself changed forever. They were no longer merely citizens of Earth, but custodians of the multiverse. Arya Khan, hailed as a multiversal hero, embarked on a journey to help the liberated consciousnesses find new homes across friendly dimensions. Kai Tanaka and his alternate selves formed an interdimensional peacekeeping force, patrolling the borders of the firewall. The Quantum Trio, their powers now transcending simple classification, became guardians of the multiversal nexus itself. As for Dr. Nwosu, her final act had transformed her into something beyond human comprehension. She existed now as a benevolent presence across all protected realities, a living embodiment of the firewall itself. Earth, once laughed at by alien warriors, had become the savior of not just one universe, but countless realities. As the people of this new multiversal civilization looked to the infinite horizons before them, they knew that their greatest adventures were just beginning. In the swirling heart of the multiversal nexus, where the boundaries between what was, what is, And what could be blur into one, a new chapter in the cosmic story was unfolding. And at its center stood humanity, no longer merely reaching for the stars, but dancing among them, guardians of 1,000,000,000,000 dreams across the vast tapestry of existence. The quantum renaissance. In the wake of the multiversal crisis, Earth had become the nexus of a new cosmic order. The quantum renaissance, as historians would later call it, ushered in an era of unparalleled creativity, innovation, and exploration. Humanity, once confined to a single planet, now stood as stewards of infinite realities. At the heart of this new age was the Omnisphere, a massive structure that hovered above the restored city of New Alexandria. Part research facility, part interdimensional embassy, and part cosmic think tank, it served as the central hub for Earth's multiversal endeavors. Dr. Zephyr Quark, a young prodigy whose parents had been lost in the dimensional shuffle during the crisis, stood before a gathering of the brightest minds from across the multiverse. Her signature neon blue hair pulsed with bioluminescent particles, a fashion trend that had emerged from a reality where humans had evolved photosynthetic properties. "Welcome, beings of all dimensions," Zephyr began, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "Today, we embark on the most ambitious project in the history of any universe, Project Harmony." The assembled crowd, a dizzying array of species and alternate humanoids, leaned in with anticipation. Project Harmony was the talk of the multiverse, though its exact nature had been kept under wraps. "For too long, we've viewed the multiverse as a collection of separate realities," Zephyr continued. "But what if I told you that all universes are but instruments in a grand cosmic symphony?" With a gesture, she activated a holographic display that filled the vast chamber. It showed the multiversal nexus, but unlike any representation seen before, each universe pulsed with its own unique frequency, creating a mesmerizing visual and auditory experience. Project Harmony aims to synchronize these universal frequencies, Zephyr explained, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "By doing so, we can create a harmonic resonance that will allow for unprecedented levels of interdimensional cooperation and energy sharing." The implications were staggering. If successful, Project Harmony could eliminate scarcity across all connected realities, usher in a new age of multiversal peace, and potentially even heal damaged or dying universes. As the presentation concluded, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of excited discussions in countless languages. However, not everyone was thrilled with the prospect. Arxon Vex, a Zarkef philosopher and descendant of the once feared Supreme Commander Vexcor, approached Zephyr with concern etched on his insectoid features. "Dr. Quark," he chittered, mandibles clicking nervously, "while the potential benefits are undeniable, have you considered the risks? Altering the fundamental frequencies of universes could have unforeseen consequences." Zephyr nodded, her expression serious. "You're absolutely right, Arxon. That's why we're not rushing into this. Project Harmony will begin with small-scale tests in controlled environments. We're not taking any chances with the stability of the multiverse." As preparations for the first test of Project Harmony got underway, a new challenge emerged from the depths of the quantum foam. Reports began flooding in from across the multiverse of null zones, areas where the very laws of physics seemed to break down. Captain Kai Tanaka, now sporting cybernetic enhancements that allowed him to pilot his ship, the Quantum Surfer, through the turbulent waters of interdimensional space, led a reconnaissance mission to one of these null zones. What he and his crew discovered shook them to their core. The null zones were not natural phenomena, but the result of a rogue faction of multiversal entities known as the Void Weavers. These beings, composed of pure quantum probability, sought to unravel the fabric of reality itself, viewing structure and order as a cosmic mistake. As news of the Void Weavers spread, panic began to grip the multiversal community. Some saw Project Harmony as humanity's best defense against this existential threat, while others feared it would only hasten the unraveling of reality. In response to this crisis, a multiversal summit was called. Representatives from every connected reality gathered in the omnisphere to debate the path forward. The proceedings were broadcast across dimensions, watched by trillions of beings in countless forms. As arguments raged and tensions rose, an unexpected voice cut through the chaos. Elena, once part of the legendary quantum trio, now a being of pure energy and cosmic awareness, materialized in the center of the chamber. Friends, allies, fellow cosmic travelers, her voice resonated on multiple levels of reality simultaneously. The threat we face is grave, but it is not insurmountable. The Void Weavers seek to return all of existence to a state of pure potential, but in doing so, they underestimate the power of actualized realities. Elena's presence had a calming effect on the assembly. She continued, her form shifting through various states of matter as she spoke. Project Harmony is not just about synchronizing universes, it's about harmonizing the very concept of existence across all planes of reality. With Elena's guidance, a new plan took shape. Project Harmony would be expanded and accelerated, but with a crucial twist. Instead of imposing a single frequency across the multiverse, they would create a complex, ever-shifting harmonic pattern that celebrated the diversity of all realities. Dr. Zephyr Quark, working in tandem with Elena and a team of the multiverse's greatest minds, began to modify the Project Harmony protocols. They drew inspiration from sources across reality, from the mathematical beauty of fractal dimensions to the primal rhythms of a universe where all matter was in a perpetual state of music. As the day of the first full-scale test approached, the multiverse held its breath. The omnisphere, now reconfigured into a massive quantum tuning fork, pulsed with potential energy. Zephyr, her hair now a swirling galaxy of bioluminescent particles, stood at the control center, surrounded by holographic interfaces showing readouts from across dimensions. All realities, stand by for harmonic initialization, she announced, her voice carried across the quantum foam to every connected universe. Synchronization in 3, 2, 1. With a gesture both infinitesimal and infinite, Zephyr activated Project Harmony. A wave of resonant energy exploded outward from Earth, rippling across the multiverse. As it touched each reality, it adapted, incorporating that universe's unique sound into a growing cosmic symphony. The effect was beyond anything they had imagined. Across countless realities, beings of all kinds found themselves suddenly aware of their connection to the greater multiverse. Barriers between dimensions became permeable, allowing for an unprecedented exchange of knowledge, culture, and energy. But the true test came when the harmonic wave reached the null zones created by the Void Weavers. As the cosmic symphony washed over these areas of unreality, something miraculous happened. The nullifying effect of the Void Weavers was not destroyed, but rather incorporated into the greater harmony. What was once destructive became a crucial part of the multiversal balance, the silence between notes that gave the cosmic music its rhythm and meaning. As the initial wave of harmony stabilized, a new multiversal society began to take shape. Earth, once a cosmic backwater, now stood as the conductor of a universal orchestra. Humanity, with its unique blend of adaptability, creativity, and determination, found itself uniquely suited to navigate the complexities of multiversal diplomacy and exploration. Zephyr Quark, hailed as the architect of a new cosmic age, embarked on a journey across realities to help fine-tune the harmonic resonance. Captain Kai Tanaka and his crew became multiversal troubleshooters, using the quantum surfer to navigate the new interdimensional landscape and resolve conflicts that arose from increased contact between realities. The Void Weavers, their purpose transformed by the cosmic harmony, became guardians of the spaces between universes, ensuring that the delicate balance of order and chaos was maintained. As for Elena and the remnants of the quantum trio, they ascended to a new plane of existence, becoming living embodiments of the multiversal harmony itself. Their consciousness spanned all of reality, guiding and nurturing the growth of this new cosmic civilization. In New Alexandria, now a shining beacon of multiversal cooperation, Humans worked alongside beings from across the quantum spectrum. Streets buzzed with hover vehicles powered by zero-point energy, while holographic displays showed real-time feeds from 1 million different Earths. Children played in quantum playgrounds where the laws of physics were as mutable as imagination, while in universities, students engaged in field trips across dimensions, studying the infinite diversity of life and thought. As the cosmic symphony played on, humanity found itself at the dawn of a new epoch. They had faced extinction, defied conquering aliens, mastered time itself, and now stood as the guardians of a harmonious multiverse. The message echoed across realities. From a single pale blue dot had risen a species with the audacity to dream beyond the boundaries of their own universe, and the determination to make those dreams a reality. And somewhere in the vast cosmic orchestra, on a planet much like our own, a child looked up at the star-filled sky and wondered what new adventures awaited in the infinite symphony of existence. The quantum renaissance had begun, and the music of the spheres had never sounded so sweet.